The black lotus flower arrived on a Tuesday, wrapped in silk the color of dried blood. I stared at it on my kitchen counter, my coffee going cold in my hand. 5 years. 5 years since I'd seen that symbol tattooed across a dying man's shoulder. 5 years since Jean had knelt in my apartment and made a promise I'd thought was delirium. The first-class ticket to Seoul sat beside the flower. Departure, Friday. I should have thrown it all away. Instead, I picked up the note again. I kept my promise. Come home, my bride. 5 years earlier. The alley behind May's diner stank of rotting food and Seattle rain. I was bone-tired, my feet screaming after an 8-hour shift, when I heard the groan. He was crumpled against the dumpster, blood pooling beneath him. Jesus. I dropped to my knees, fumbling for my phone. Don't move. I'm calling. His hand shot out, gripping my wrist. No hospital. His English was broken, accent thick. Korean, maybe. His face was a mess of bruises, one eye swollen shut. But his good eye fixed on me with an intensity that made my breath catch. You're bleeding out, I said. No hospital. He coughed, blood on his lips. Please. I should have called 911 anyway. Should have walked away. But something in his voice, desperate, proud, terrified, made me hesitate. Can you walk? He nodded. Lied, probably, but I helped him up anyway. He was heavier than he looked, all lean muscle under the torn shirt. We staggered the 3 blocks to my studio apartment, him leaving a trail of blood I'd worry about later. My apartment was a shoebox, kitchen, bathroom, and a living space that doubled as my bedroom. I cleared the couch, and he collapsed onto it with a grunt. I need to see how bad it is, I said, reaching for his shirt. He caught my hand again. Gentler this time. I am fine. You're not fine. You're bleeding on my couch. For a moment, we just stared at each other. Then he let go, nodding once. I peeled off his shirt and froze. Scars. Dozens of them, crisscrossing his chest and back. Some old and silvered, others fresh and angry. And on his left shoulder, a black lotus flower, beautifully inked despite the scar tissue around it. What happened to you? I whispered. He looked away. I lost everything. That was all he'd say. I cleaned him up as best I could. The cuts were deep but not fatal. No broken bones that I could feel. He didn't make a sound the entire time, just watched me with those dark, haunted eyes. What's your name? I asked, taping the last bandage. Jean. I'm Lila. I sat back, wiping my bloody hands on a towel. You need antibiotics. And probably stitches. I heal fast. That's not how infections work. The corner of his mouth twitched. Almost a smile. You are kind. I'm stupid, I muttered. Letting a stranger bleed on my couch. Not stupid. His voice was soft. Kind. He stayed 3 days. I didn't plan it that way. The first morning, I woke up expecting him to be gone. But he was still there, sitting on the couch, staring at nothing. He'd cleaned up the blood, folded the blanket I'd given him. When I offered him breakfast, he accepted with a small bow that made my chest tight. He didn't talk much. Didn't ask questions. Just watched me move around the apartment with an expression I couldn't read. But at night, I'd wake to the sound of him screaming in Korean, thrashing on the couch. I'd sit with him until the nightmares passed, and he'd look at me like I was the only real thing in his world. On the 3rd day, I came home from my shift to find him in my kitchen. He'd made kimchi jjigae, somehow, with my pathetic grocery selection. It smelled like heaven. You didn't have to do this, I said. You fed me. He ladled stew into a bowl. I feed you. We ate in comfortable silence. He'd healed fast, just like he said. The swelling in his face was gone, revealing sharp cheekbones and a jaw that could cut glass. He was beautiful in a dangerous way, like a blade. After dinner, he washed the dishes. I dried. Domestic and strange and right. I leave tomorrow, he said suddenly. My hands stilled. Oh. I must. He set down the last plate, turning to face me. But I come back. Jean. When I am rich, I come back. I marry you. I laughed. I couldn't help it. You don't even know me. I know. His expression was dead serious. You save my life. You give me food, home, kindness. You ask for nothing. He stepped closer. In my country, this is debt I cannot repay with money. You don't owe me anything. I owe you everything. He dropped to one knee. My heart stopped. When I am rich, I marry you. I promise on my blood. Jean, this is crazy. He pulled a knife from his pocket. Before I could react, he dragged it across his palm. Blood welled, and he held out his hand. My blood. My vow. You're insane, I breathed, but I was already reaching for him. He pressed his bleeding palm to mine. His skin was warm, his grip firm. His eyes burned into mine. I find you again, Lila. I promise. He was gone when I woke up. The couch was empty, the blanket folded. No note. No goodbye. Just a torn piece of paper on the kitchen counter, covered in Korean characters I couldn't read. I told myself it didn't matter. He was just some guy I'd helped. I'd never see him again. I kept the paper anyway. Present day. 5 years. I'd convinced myself I'd imagined the intensity in his eyes, the weight of his promise. Life moved on. I worked double shifts at the diner, visited mom at the care facility, paid bills. Normal. Safe. Boring. Then the lotus flower arrived. I turned the ticket over in my hands. First class. Open-ended return. A small fortune in paper and ink. Come home, my bride. Home. Like I'd ever been to Seoul. Like I belonged there. But that symbol, the black lotus on his shoulder, I'd seen it in my dreams for 5 years. And Jin's voice, rough and certain, I promise on my blood. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. Hello? Silence. Then, a voice I'd never forgotten. Lila. My knees went weak. Jean. Did you receive my gift? His English was perfect now. Smooth. Cold. Nothing like the broken, desperate man from my couch. Who are you? I whispered. A pause. Then, I kept my promise. I am rich now. And you will be my bride. I never agreed. You pressed your blood to mine. His voice dropped, dangerous and soft. In my world, that is agreement enough. The plane leaves Friday. Be on it. And if I'm not? Then I come to you. And you will not like what I have become. The line went dead. I stared at the black lotus, my palm tingling where his blood had mixed with mine 5 years ago. What had I done? If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 2. I got on the plane. Not because of his threat. Not because some part of me had spent 5 years wondering what happened to the broken man I'd saved. I got on the plane because I was tired of being afraid, and Jin's voice had carried a promise darker than any nightmare. If I didn't come to him, he'd come to me. Better to face the monster in his cage than let him loose in mine. The flight attendants treated me like royalty. First class meant champagne I didn't drink and a bed I couldn't sleep in. 13 hours to Seoul, and every minute I spent staring at that torn piece of paper with Korean characters I still couldn't read. When we landed, I expected customs. Questions. Normalcy. Instead, Two men in black suits were waiting at the gate. Miss Chen. The taller one bowed slightly. We're here to escort you. I didn't ask for an escort. Mr. Kong insists. Mr. Kong. Not Jean. The formality made my skin crawl. I could have run. Should have run. But their hands rested too casually near their jackets, and I knew a gun when I saw the outline of one. Lead the way, I said. Seoul at night was a fever dream of neon and glass. The car, a sleek black thing that cost more than I'd make in 10 years, slid through traffic like a shark. The men didn't speak. Didn't look at me. Professional. Terrifying. We pulled up to a building that scraped the sky, all chrome and dark windows. The penthouse, naturally. Because Jean wouldn't settle for anything less than the top. The elevator ride lasted an eternity. My ears popped. The men flanked me like I might bolt, and honestly, I was considering it. The doors opened directly into the penthouse. I stepped out into luxury that made my studio apartment look like a cardboard box. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city, lights stretching to the horizon. Marble floors. Modern art that probably cost a fortune. Everything cold and sharp and expensive. And standing by the windows, backlit by the city, was Jean. No. Not Jean. This man was a stranger wearing Jin's face. He turned, and my breath caught. Gone was the broken boy with frightened eyes. This man was power incarnate, tailored black suit that hugged his frame, hair swept back, jaw sharp enough to cut. But it was his eyes that stopped me cold. Dark. Calculating. Empty of everything except a predatory focus that pinned me in place. Lila. My name in his mouth sounded like a claim. You came. You didn't give me a choice. He smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. There is always a choice. You made yours. The men behind me retreated into the elevator without a word. The doors closed. We were alone. Jean, no, Kong Jinwoo, I had to start thinking of him correctly, moved toward me with the grace of a hunter. Every step deliberate. When he stopped in front of me, I had to tilt my head back to meet his eyes. You've changed, I said. I promised I would be rich. He reached out, fingers grazing my cheek. I flinched, and something flickered in his expression. I kept my promise. Who are you? Kong Jinwoo. Head of the Biko clan. He said it like I should know what that meant. I control half of Seoul's underworld. Gambling. Protection. Imports. His thumb traced my jaw. I am very, very rich. You're a criminal. Yes. No shame. No hesitation. Just cold fact. I stepped back, breaking contact. I saved a man who'd lost everything. Not a gangster. You saved my life. His voice dropped, dangerous and soft. Now it belongs to you. And you belong to me. I don't belong to anyone. You pressed your blood to mine. You accepted my vow. I was humoring a delirious man. He moved fast, too fast. One moment he was 3 feet away, the next his hand was fisted in my hair, tilting my head back. Not painful, but inescapable. Do I look delirious now? My heart hammered. Let go. No. His other hand found my waist, pulling me flush against him. I have waited 5 years. Watched you from across an ocean. Built an empire so I could be worthy of you. And now you are here, in my home, and you will be my bride. You're insane. Perhaps. His lips brushed my ear. But you are still here. I shoved at his chest. He let me go, stepping back with that empty smile. I'm leaving, I said, turning toward the elevator. Your diner is $200,000 in debt. I froze. May's Diner, he continued, conversational. Your employer. about to be foreclosed on by the bank. He pulled a file from the side table, tossed it onto the couch. I bought the debt. I own it now. My stomach dropped. You can't. Your mother's medical bills. Stage 3 cancer treatment. Very expensive. Another file joined the first. I own those too. I spun to face him. You bastard. Yes. No apology. No regret. Marry me, and it all disappears. Refuse, and I will take everything. The diner closes. Your mother's treatment stops. He tilted his head. What will you choose, Lila? Rage burned through my fear. This isn't a choice. It's extortion. It is reality. He moved to the bar, poured himself a drink. You saved my life when I had nothing. Now I am offering you everything. A fair trade. A trade requires both parties to agree. Then agree. He downed the whiskey in one swallow. Or don't. But decide quickly. I am not a patient man. I wanted to hit him. Scream. Run. But May's face flashed in my mind, tired, worn, but kind. And Mom, pale in her hospital bed, smiling despite the pain. 3 months, I heard myself say. Jin's eyes sharpened. What? Give me 3 months. To understand what you've become. To decide if I can. I swallowed. If I can marry you. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, 3 months. You stay here. With me. No running. I'm not running. I'm negotiating. Something like amusement crossed his face. I accept your terms. Relief and dread warred in my chest. I need my own room. You will have the master suite. I will take the guest room. Why? He set down his glass, crossing to me again. This time, he moved slowly, giving me time to retreat. I didn't. Because when you come to my bed, he said softly, it will be your choice. Not my coercion. That's very noble for a gangster. I am many things, Lila. Noble is not one of them. His hand cupped my face, gentle despite the calluses. But for you, I will pretend. The master suite was obscene. King bed. Marble bathroom. A closet full of clothes in my exact size that I absolutely was not thinking about how he knew. I just changed into the provided pajamas when a knock sounded. Not Jean. A younger man, late 20s, with sharp eyes and a scar bisecting his left eyebrow. Miss Chen. I'm Miho. Mr. Kang's lieutenant. He bowed. I wanted to introduce myself. Is that normal? The lieutenant introducing himself to the, whatever I am? No. He glanced down the hallway, then back at me. I'm here to warn you. My pulse quickened. About what? Mr. Kang is not the man you knew. 5 years ago, he was prey. Now he is the apex predator. Miho's voice dropped. He has killed men for looking at him wrong. Burned entire organizations to ash. Don't trust his vow. Don't trust his gentleness. It's a mask. Then why are you telling me this? Because you're the only person he's ever shown mercy to. Miho's expression was grim. And I don't know if that will save you or damn you. He left before I could respond. I didn't sleep that night. The next evening, Jean took me to dinner. Not a date. A business meeting at an upscale restaurant where everyone knew his name and feared his presence. Men bowed as we passed. Women looked away. I felt like prey at a predator's table. We were halfway through the meal when they arrived. 6 men, armed, moving through the restaurant with purpose. Customers scattered. Jean didn't even look up from his wine. Kang Jin-woo. The lead man sneered. Han Seo-jun sends his regards. Tell Han he can send them in person. Jin's voice was bored. He says you owe him blood for his brother. I owe him nothing. The man pulled a gun. Jin moved. One moment he was seated. The next, he had the man's wrist, twisting until bone cracked and the gun clattered to the floor. Jin caught it mid-fall, fired twice. 2 men dropped. The other 4 rushed him. It wasn't a fight. It was a slaughter. Jin moved like violence incarnate, precise, brutal, efficient. A knife appeared in his hand. I didn't see where from. Didn't matter. Blood sprayed. Men screamed. In 30 seconds, 5 bodies decorated the restaurant floor. The 6th man, the leader, was on his knees, whimpering. Jin crouched in front of him, wiping blood from his face with a napkin. Tell Han if he wants me, come himself. Stop sending children. He slit the man's throat. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't process the man in front of me, calm, composed, covered in blood, with the broken boy I'd saved. Jin stood, straightening his cuffs like he'd just finished a business deal. He turned to me, and his expression was almost tender. We should go. Dinner is ruined. He held out his hand. I stared at it. At the blood on his fingers. Lila. I looked up at his face. And he smiled, soft, almost sad. Your father taught me well. The world stopped. What? My voice was a whisper. Your father. Michael Chen. Jin tilted his head. He was an excellent teacher. My father died 10 years ago. In a car accident. Did he? Jin's smile widened. Come, Lila. We have much to discuss about your father. And what he did to mine. He turned and walked toward the exit, leaving me frozen among the corpses. How did Jin know my father? And what the hell had my father done? If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 3. I followed Jin out of the restaurant in a daze, stepping over bodies like they were furniture. The cold night air hit my face, but I couldn't feel it. Couldn't feel anything except the echo of his words. Your father taught me well. The car was waiting. Jin held the door open, blood still on his cuffs. When I didn't move, he sighed. Get in, Lila. Or I will put you in. I got in. The drive back to the penthouse was silent. Jin made a phone call in rapid Korean, his voice cold and clipped. Clean up, probably. Making the bodies disappear like they'd never existed. When we arrived, I went straight for the elevator. He caught my wrist. We need to talk. Don't touch me. I yanked free, and surprisingly, he let me go. My office. Now. It wasn't a request. His office was all dark wood and leather, walls lined with books in Korean and English. A massive desk dominated the space, and behind it, a wall of windows overlooking Seoul's glittering sprawl. Jin moved to a cabinet, pulled out a file. Thick. Well-worn. He set it on the desk between us. Open it. My hands shook as I reached for the file. Inside were photographs. Dozens of them. My father. But not the father I knew, the tired man who'd worked double shifts at his struggling restaurant, who died when I was 12 in a car accident that the police said was mechanical failure. These photos showed a different man. Younger. Harder. Standing with men in expensive suits, shaking hands over briefcases. In one photo, he held a gun. In another, he stood in what looked like a warehouse full of crates. Who is this? I whispered. Michael Chen. Also known as the broker. Jin's voice was emotionless. He smuggled weapons. Guns, explosives, anything that could kill. He worked with gangs across the Pacific, Chinese, Korean, Japanese. Very good at his job. Very careful. No. I shook my head. My father owned a restaurant. He wasn't. The restaurant was a front. Money laundering. Jean pulled out another photo. This one showed my father with a group of Korean men, all smiling. In 2008, your father brokered a deal between the Kang family, my family, and a Chinese arms dealer. $5 million for a shipment of rifles and ammunition. He laid out more photos. A warehouse. Armed men. Crates being loaded. The deal was supposed to be simple. Money for weapons. But your father double-crossed us. Jin's voice went flat. He told the rival Choi clan about the meeting. They came with more men. More guns. Another photo. This one made my stomach turn. Bodies on the ground. Blood everywhere. My father died first. Shot in the head. Jean pointed to a body I couldn't look at. Then my uncles. 3 of them. They tried to fight back. More photos. I wanted to close my eyes, but I couldn't look away. My mother and sister were there. They shouldn't have been, but my mother insisted on seeing the deal through. She was careful like that. His finger moved to 2 smaller forms. They ran. Didn't get far. Stop, I choked out. I was 15. Hiding in a closet in the warehouse office. Jin's voice was distant now, like he was watching it happen again. My father told me to hide if anything went wrong. So I did. I watched through the slats as they killed my family. Heard my sister scream for help. Heard my mother beg. Tears blurred my vision. Jean. The Choi clan took the weapons. Took the money. Left us to rot. He closed the file carefully. I survived because I was a coward. Because I hid while my family died. You were a child. I was alive. He looked at me then, and his eyes were dead. Everyone I loved was gone because of your father's greed. The Choi clan paid him $500,000 to betray us. My legs gave out. I sank into the chair, the file falling from my hands. No. My father wasn't, he wouldn't. He did. Jean pulled out another document. Bank records. Transfers. All with my father's name. I spent 10 years hunting him. 10 years building power, making connections, finding every piece of evidence. I tracked him to Seattle in 2018. He paused, and something like bitterness crossed his face. But your father was already dead. Car accident, 2015. Mechanical failure. Jin's laugh was hollow. He escaped me. Died peacefully while my family rotted in unmarked graves. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. My father, the man who'd taught me to ride a bike, who'd made me breakfast every Sunday, who'd tucked me in at night, was a murderer. So I changed the plan, Jean continued. If I couldn't kill Michael Chen, I would destroy what he loved most. His daughter. The room spun. I researched you. Watched you. Learned your routines. He leaned against the desk, arms crossed. I knew you worked graveyard shifts. Knew your route home. So I paid men to beat me, left myself in that alley, and waited for you to find me. No. The word was barely a sound. Everything was calculated. The broken English, the fear, the nightmares, all real, but useful. I needed you to trust me. To care. His voice was clinical. The plan was simple. Make you fall for me. Marry you. Then kill you and make sure you knew why before you died. I stood, stumbling toward the door. I need to leave. Lila. Let me go. I grabbed the door handle. Locked. Jean pressed a button on his desk. A soft click echoed through the penthouse. Every door, every window, all locking. I won't hurt you anymore, he said quietly. But I can't let you go. You're insane. Yes. He didn't deny it. But you saved me. You weren't supposed to do that. I turned on him, rage burning through the horror. I saved you, and you've been planning to murder me for 5 years? I was. He met my eyes. But then you fed me. Gave me your couch. Sat with me during nightmares you didn't understand. Asked for nothing. His jaw tightened. You weren't supposed to be kind. You weren't supposed to be real. So what, you changed your mind? My voice broke. How generous. I tried not to. His admission was raw. I watched you for 5 years, waiting for the feeling to pass. Waiting to hate you enough to finish it. But you just kept being, you. He pulled out his phone, pulled up a photo. Me, leaving the diner. Another. Me at the grocery store. Another. Me sitting by my mother's hospital bed. I know everything about you, Lila. Your favorite coffee order. The way you bite your lip when you're thinking. How you cry during sad movies but pretend you don't. He set the phone down. And I hate myself for it, but I can't kill you. Can't even hurt you. Because somewhere in those 5 years of watching, you became the only thing I care about. That's not love. I shouted. That's obsession. I know. His voice was soft. Broken. I know what I am. What I've become. But I also know I would burn this city to ash before I let anyone hurt you. Including myself. I backed away from him until I hit the wall. You're a monster. Yes. He didn't argue. Didn't defend himself. I'm a monster who made a vow to a girl who showed him kindness. And I will keep that vow, even if you hate me for it. I do hate you. Something flickered in his eyes. Pain, maybe. But it was gone too fast to tell. I know. He moved to the door, unlocked it with another button press. The penthouse is yours. I'll stay in the guest house on the roof. You won't see me unless you ask. He paused at the doorway. 3 months, Lila. That was our deal. I'll honor it. He left. I stood there, shaking, until my legs gave out completely. I slid down the wall, buried my face in my hands, and finally let myself break. My father was a murderer. Jean was a monster. And I was the pawn in a revenge plot that had somehow twisted into something worse. I don't know how long I sat there. Hours, maybe. Eventually, I forced myself up, forced myself to move. I couldn't stay in that office surrounded by photos of death. I wandered the penthouse, numb. Opened doors at random. Guest rooms. Bathrooms. A gym. Everything expensive and cold and empty. Then I found a door that didn't open. Locked. But not with the electronic system, with a physical deadbolt. I shouldn't have cared. Should have gone to bed, tried to sleep, tried to pretend the world made sense. Instead, I went to Jin's office, found a letter opener, and picked the lock. The door swung open. The room was small. Windowless. And every wall was covered in photographs. Of me. Hundreds of them. Thousands, maybe. Me leaving work. Me shopping. Me laughing with May at the diner. Me crying at my father's grave. Me sleeping in my apartment. Sleeping. My stomach heaved. In the center of the room was a desk. On it, a single file. Project Lotus. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside was a detailed plan. Timelines. Psychological profiles. Manipulation tactics. Seduction strategies. Every step laid out with clinical precision. Phase 1, establish trust. Phase 2, create dependency. Phase 3, proposal. Phase 4, marriage. Phase 5, revelation. Phase 6, execution. Each phase had notes. Observations about my behavior, my weaknesses, my fears. How to use them against me. The last page had one word written in red marker. Complete. But it was crossed out. Violently. Black ink slashed through it again and again. And beneath it, in handwriting that shook. I can't. I dropped the file. Around me, photographs stared down. 5 years of my life, watched. Documented. Obsessed over. Gene hadn't changed his plan because he'd grown a conscience. He'd changed it because somewhere in those 5 years of hunting me, he'd become addicted to watching me live. The door opened behind me. I spun. Gene stood in the doorway, face pale. Lila. How long? My voice was ice. How long have you been watching me? He said nothing. Answer me. Since the day I left your apartment. His voice was hollow. Every day for 5 years. I looked at the photos again. At the proof of his obsession covering every surface. You're not a monster, I whispered. You're something worse. His expression cracked, just for a moment. Then the mask was back. I know, he said. And I'm sorry. But we both knew sorry didn't mean anything. Not anymore. If you are enjoying this video, kindly hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 4. I grabbed the file and hurled it at Jin's face. He didn't flinch. Papers scattered around him like snow, photographs of my life fluttering to the ground. 5 years of surveillance. 5 years of lies. You sick bastard. I lunged at him, fists hitting his chest. He took it, didn't move, didn't defend himself. You paid them to beat you? You planned everything? Yes. I hit him harder. The nightmares? The fear? Real. His voice was quiet. The trauma was real. But I used it. The vow? My voice cracked. The blood promise? Calculated. He caught my wrists gently when I swung again. I knew you'd remember it. Knew it would haunt you. I jerked free, backing away. Everything was a lie. Not everything. His eyes met mine. The way I feel now, that's real. Don't. I held up a hand. Don't you dare pretend you love me. I don't pretend. He stepped forward, and I saw something raw in his expression. I'm obsessed with you. Addicted. I've watched you for so long, you're the only thing that feels real anymore. Love, obsession, I don't know the difference. But it's consuming me. That's not love. That's sickness. I know. He didn't look away. I'm sick. Broken. A monster who stalked you for 5 years because I couldn't let you go. But I won't lie anymore, Lila. Everything I did to get you here was manipulation. Everything I feel for you now is real. I wanted to scream. To run. But mostly, I wanted to understand how the broken boy I'd saved had become this. I hate you, I whispered. I know. He smiled, sad and broken. But you're still here. Because you locked me in. The doors are unlocked now. He gestured to the hallway. Leave if you want. I won't stop you. I stared at him. At the monster wearing Jin's face. And I hated that some small, stupid part of me hesitated. Before I could answer, his phone rang. Gene glanced at it, and his entire demeanor changed. Cold. Lethal. What? He answered in Korean, listened. His jaw clenched. When? A pause. Then he looked at me, and fear, actual fear, flickered in his eyes. I'll kill every single one of you. He hung up. What? Stay here. He was already moving, pulling a gun from a drawer. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone but me. Gene, what's happening? He stopped at the doorway. Han Seo-jun. The man whose brother I killed. He knows you're here. My blood went cold. So you're my weakness. His voice was tight. And he's going to use that. He left. I should have locked the door. Should have hidden. Instead, I ran after him. I made it to the elevator before they grabbed me. Two men, moving fast. A cloth over my face, chemical sweet smell filling my lungs. I tried to fight, but the world was already fading. The last thing I heard was Jean screaming my name. I woke in a warehouse. Cliché, but effective. Concrete floors, rusted metal walls, the smell of oil and decay. My hands were zip-tied to a chair, head pounding from whatever they'd used to knock me out. Awake. Good. A man stepped into view. 40s, expensive suit, scar running from temple to jaw. Han Seo-jun, presumably. You're Lila Chen. He circled me slowly. The girl who saved Kang Jin-woo's worthless life. Let me go. Soon. He smiled. First, I want you to understand what kind of man you saved. He snapped his fingers. A screen lowered from the ceiling, projector clicking on. My brother was Min-jun, good man. Family man. Han's voice went cold. Jin-woo tortured him for 3 days before killing him. The screen showed security footage. A basement. A man tied to a chair, beaten, bloody, begging in Korean. And Jean. Younger, but just as cold. He circled the man with a knife, taking his time. I wanted to look away. Couldn't. Watch, Han commanded. See what your broken boy became. The footage showed Jean cutting. Methodical. Precise. The man's screams were silent on the video, but I could see his mouth open, see the agony. And Jin's face. Calm. Almost bored. No, not bored. Enjoying it. My stomach heaved. He didn't just kill my brother, Han continued. He enjoyed it. He's a rabid dog, Miss Chen. And you're his weakness. The footage cut off. Han crouched in front of me. Jin-woo will come for you. And when he does, I'm going to make him watch while I kill you. Slowly. The way he killed Min-jun. He'll slaughter you. My voice shook, but I meant it. Probably. Han shrugged. But you'll still be dead. 2 hours later, the shooting started. Gunfire echoed through the warehouse. Men shouting. Screaming. The systematic sounds of Jean cutting through Han's forces like they were paper. Han's smile faded. He pulled a gun, pressed it to my temple. Right on schedule. The warehouse door exploded inward. Jean stood in the smoke and debris, covered in blood. None of it his. He held 2 guns, bodies scattered behind him. Let her go, Han. Or what? Han cocked the gun. You'll kill me? You're going to do that anyway. Jin's eyes found mine. For a moment, the mask cracked, and I saw terror. Let her go, he repeated. This is between us. No. Han yanked my head back, gun digging into my skull. This is about showing you loss. Showing you what you took from me. More of Han's men appeared, surrounding Jean. 20, maybe 30. Too many. Jean didn't lower his guns. Choose, Han said. Your revenge or her life. Kill her yourself and prove you're still the monster I know. Or I will. Don't. My voice was steady despite the terror. Don't give him what he wants. Jin's gun shifted. Pointed at me. My heart stopped. You're right, Han. Jin's voice was empty. She is my weakness. His finger moved to the trigger. Time slowed. I saw his hand steady. Saw his eyes meet mine, and something passed between us. Trust, maybe. Or insanity. He fired. The bullet passed so close to my head I felt the heat. Behind me, glass shattered, a mirror I hadn't seen. The bullet ricocheted, hitting Han square in the forehead. He dropped, gun clattering away. Chaos erupted. Han's men opened fire. Jean moved like death incarnate, cutting through them with brutal efficiency. I ducked as low as the chair allowed, bullets whizzing overhead. 30 seconds. That's how long it took Jean to kill them all. 30 seconds of gunfire and screams and blood. Then silence. Jean stood among the bodies, chest heaving, covered in so much blood he looked like something from a nightmare. He holstered his guns, moved to me with shaking hands. Lila. He cut the zip ties, caught me as I stumbled. Are you hurt? No. I should have been terrified. Should have run. But my hands gripped his bloody shirt. You shot at me. I shot the mirror. His arms wrapped around me, tight and desperate. I would never. I saw the angle, saw the reflection. You're insane. Yes. He pulled back, cupping my face. Blood smeared my cheeks. But I won't let anyone hurt you. Not even me. More men were coming, I could hear them outside. We didn't have time. Jean must have realized it too. He grabbed a gun, pressed it into my hand. Stay behind me. We moved toward the exit, Jean leading. But he stopped suddenly, swaying. I caught him. Jean. I need to tell you something. His voice was weak. He pressed a hand to his side, blood seeping through. He'd been shot. I hadn't even noticed. Save it. We need to move. Your father didn't broker that deal. The words came out in a rush. He was forced to. By my uncle. My own family. I froze. What? I found the truth 6 months ago. My uncle, my father's brother, orchestrated everything. He wanted control of the family business, so he set up the ambush. Paid the Choi clan. Forced your father to cooperate by threatening you and your mother. Jin's eyes were glassy with pain. Your father tried to warn us. Tried to stop it. But my uncle killed him anyway, made it look like an accident. The world tilted. My family died because of our own betrayal. And I spent 10 years hunting an innocent man's ghost. Jean laughed, broken. I destroyed you for nothing. Your father didn't kill my family. He tried to save them. Tears blurred my vision. Why didn't you tell me? Because I'm a coward. He cupped my face with bloody hands. Because I've been the villain of my own story, and I didn't know how to stop. I don't deserve forgiveness, Lila. Don't deserve you. But I'll die before I let them touch you. Footsteps echoed. Coming closer. Jean pushed me toward a side exit. Run. Not without you. Lila. No. I grabbed his arm, slung it over my shoulders. You made a vow, remember? On your blood. You don't get to die until you keep it. He stared at me. You still hate me. Yes. I met his eyes. But I'm not letting you die. Something like hope flickered in his expression. Then let's go home, he whispered. We ran. If you are enjoying this video, kindly hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 5. We almost made it. The side exit led to an alley, the car waiting where Jin's men had left it. 50 feet. That's all we needed. They came from the rooftops. Jean shoved me behind a dumpster as bullets tore through the air. He returned fire, dropping 2 men. 3 more appeared. Get to the car, he shouted. Not without. He kissed me. Hard and desperate and tasting like blood. Go. Then he stepped into the open, drawing their fire. I watched in horror as he moved, deadly and beautiful and completely exposed. He took down 4 men before the first bullet hit him. Shoulder. He didn't stop. Second bullet, thigh. He stumbled but kept firing. The third bullet hit his chest. He dropped. Jean. I don't remember running to him. Don't remember grabbing his gun and firing at the remaining men until the clip was empty. Don't remember dragging him to the car, his blood soaking through my clothes. I just remember his eyes on mine, trying to speak. Don't you dare die, I hissed, shoving him into the back seat. Don't you fucking dare. I drove. No idea where. Just away. The safe house was small, anonymous, somewhere in the industrial district. Jin's breathing was shallow, his skin pale. Too much blood loss. I laid him on the bed, hands shaking as I stripped off his ruined shirt. 3 bullets. 2 through and throughs, 1 still lodged in his chest. Lila. His voice was weak. Leave me. Get safe. Shut up. I found a first aid kit, probably planted here by Jin's paranoia. Medical supplies. Not enough, but something. I worked fast. Cleaned the wounds. Packed the chest cavity with gauze to slow the bleeding. His hand caught mine. You should go. I said shut up. If I die. You're not dying. I met his eyes. I didn't save you 5 years ago just to lose you now. He smiled. Faint and broken. You saved a monster. I know. I went back to work, hands steady despite the terror. I'm starting to think I have terrible taste. He laughed. It turned into a cough, blood on his lips. Don't talk, I ordered. For once, he listened. 2 hours later, the bleeding had slowed. He'd live, probably. If infection didn't take him. If his enemies didn't find us first. Jin's eyes opened, clearer now. He reached into his jacket with trembling fingers, pulled out his gun. Take it. I stared. What? If you want revenge for what I've done, take it. He pressed the gun into my hand. I vowed on my blood, it's yours. My life is yours. The weight of it was familiar now. I'd killed men tonight. Han's men. Pulled the trigger without hesitation to protect him. When had I become this? I could kill you, I said quietly. Yes. You deserve it. Yes. No argument. No defense. I looked at him, pale, bleeding, completely at my mercy. The monster who'd stalked me. The man who'd taken 3 bullets to save me. You never actually hurt me, I heard myself say. You could have. 1,000 times over. But you didn't. I destroyed your peace. You did. I set the gun down. But you also kept me alive tonight. Saved me, even though it cost you everything. You were supposed to be my revenge. His voice cracked. You became my reason to want redemption. I touched his face, feeling stubble and blood and the heat of fever starting. I can't love you, I whispered. Not yet. Maybe not ever. What you did, the stalking, the manipulation, the lies, I can't just forgive that. I know. But I won't kill you either. I met his eyes. You owe me a real vow, Jean. Not a revenge plot. Not an obsession. A real promise. He caught my hand, pressed it to his chest. His heartbeat was weak but steady. What promise do you want? That you'll become worthy of the vow you made. I pulled back. That you'll earn me. Not trap me. Not manipulate me. Actually earn me. That could take years. Then you better start now. Jean dissolved the Biko clan within a week. From his hospital bed, he made calls. Turned over evidence to prosecutors. Names, locations, financial records. He burned his empire to the ground and handed the authorities everything they needed to take down every rival gang in Seoul. You'll go to prison, I told him. I know. He didn't seem bothered. Better than death. Better than becoming my uncle. Why are you doing this? Because you asked me to be worthy. He looked at me, and for the first time, I saw something other than darkness in his eyes. Hope, maybe. And this is how it starts. The prosecutors offered him a deal. 1 year for organized crime, eligible for early release with cooperation. He took it. I visited him every week. Prison changed him. Not softened, Gene would never be soft. But the manic edge faded. The desperation. He spent his time reading, learning, planning a legitimate future with the businesses he'd kept, real estate, imports, investments. Clean money. We talked. About everything. About my father, and the truth Gene had uncovered. About his family, and the uncle he'd eventually tracked down and killed. About the girl I'd been and the woman I was becoming. I'm still angry, I told him during one visit. You should be. I still have nightmares. About those photos. The surveillance. I'm sorry. And he meant it. I could see it in his eyes. Sorry isn't enough. I know. He reached across the table, palm up. An offering, not a demand. But I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make it enough. I didn't take his hand. Not yet. But I came back the next week. He got out after 11 months. Good behavior, cooperation, whatever they called it when a monster decided to be human. I was waiting at the gate. He stopped when he saw me, surprise flickering across his face. I didn't think you'd come, he said. I almost didn't. I crossed my arms. But someone told me once that I was kind. Stupid kind. Guess they were right. He smiled. Real and warm and nothing like the cold mask he used to wear. What now? He asked. Now you prove you meant it. I turned toward the car. You have a lot of work to do, Gene. Don't waste it. 1 year later, he took me back to Seattle. We stood in the alley behind May's diner. The dumpster was still there, rust and all. The snow fell softly, just like that first night. Gene looked different. Lighter. The shadows under his eyes were gone, replaced by something that looked almost like peace. He'd built a legitimate business, donated to charities, even started a foundation for families affected by gang violence. He was trying. Actually trying. I'd been thinking about that night, he said. The vow I made. The manipulative one? Yes. He smiled slightly. I was wrong. About everything. He dropped to one knee. My breath caught. He pulled out a ring. Simple. Beautiful. Nothing ostentatious. I vowed to marry you when I was rich. I was wrong. I want to marry you now that I'm worthy. Will you have me? I looked down at him. At the man who'd been a monster, who'd stalked me, who'd saved me. Who'd spent 2 years trying to become someone I could actually choose. You're not fully worthy yet, I said quietly. His face fell. But you're getting there. I reached down, touched his cheek. Ask me again in a year. I turned and walked toward the diner. Lila. I looked back. He was still kneeling, but he was smiling. Really smiling. The kind of smile that reached his eyes and made him look almost innocent. I'll ask every year until you say yes. That might be a long time. I have time. He stood, brushing snow from his knee. And I'm a patient man. When I want something. You're insufferable. But I'm yours. He said it simply. Truth, not possession. However long it takes. I shook my head, but I was smiling too. 1 year, Gene. Don't waste it. I won't. I walked into the diner, ordered coffee from May, who hugged me like I'd never left. Through the window, I watched Gene stand in the alley, snow falling around him, his eyes on me. Not hunting. Not stalking. Just watching. And waiting. For the first time, his vow was real. Not a revenge plot. Not a manipulation. Just a promise from a man who'd walked through darkness and was finally learning to stand in light. I didn't know if I'd ever say yes. Didn't know if the damage could be fully healed. But I knew I'd come back next year. And maybe the year after that. Because some promises are born in darkness. But the best ones are rewritten in light. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like this, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Do well to drop your thoughts in the comments section and share this video to family and friends. The end.